This video is about why physical intimacy with an avoidant, and I'm not just talking about sex, but also a kiss, a hug, any form of physical closeness can leave you feeling confused, used, and or disoriented. And I will also share with you what you can do about it. The first thing to know is that there is closeness, there is sex, and there is sexualization. Many people, when they talk about sex, actually describing sexualization without realizing it. Sex is a continuation of closeness, another way to express the connection that you have already established and share. It is never a tool to build closeness. It is a way to affirm the closeness that already exists. It is not a way to repair, not a way to fill a gap, not a way to gain power or to calm fears down. When sex is used to try to do any of those things, that is sexualization. And it has it has nothing to do with closeness or genuine sex. Sexualization is one of the defense mechanisms avoidants use to create appearance of intimacy without the vulnerability of real emotional connection. It is a defense when sexual energy is used to manage internal conflict, anxiety, fears, any uncomfortable feelings. So, and here is how it works. An avoidant experiences some emotional closeness that triggers a difficult to process feeling. Usually it is fear. If there are also narcissistic defense mechanisms, it's also going to be shame. Because the psyche doesn't have the resources to handle that fear, it activates a defense mechanism, like sexualization, to create distance. But not distance from you, the distance from that feeling. This is the first source of confusion. If you don't understand how it works, it can literally drive you crazy. Because think about it, all your three main centers, mind, feelings, and body, are going to be getting completely different signals about the same reality. On the mind level, it might seem like there is warmth, trust, closeness, physical closeness at least. You feel their attention. You feel that your attention is important to them. On a feeling level, especially if you're a person with an open emotional center, you're actually going to feel those suppressed emotions like fear, anxiety, or tension. At the same time, you may feel disappointment because their defense mechanism often comes across as a wall between you. Sexualization is considered a primitive defense mechanism, meaning that it distorts the reality. The second point that contributes to the feeling of disorientation or confusion is that both avoidants and anxious attachers mistake anxiety for sexual excitement. Sex is a continuation of closeness and genuine connection, but here it ends up being a way to manage anxiety and fear instead. That's why you can feel turned on and totally disconnected at the same time. An anxious partner often feels used, while an avoidant feels trapped or controlled when this happens. One uses sexualization to avoid vulnerability. The other one uses it to calm anxiety through being physically close. Even if you can't put words to it, your body knows. And that creates subconscious guilt without even realizing it. And this sets up a mutual defense loop, because both are in defense, that adds up to where both avoidant and anxious attachers often find themselves in a trap that is called a trap of mutual rejection. We often don't notice our own defense mechanisms, but we quickly interpret the other person's defenses as a rejection. And this kind of how it starts this chain of mutual rejection loop. But the real source of struggle here isn't the other person. It starts with how we misread what's happening and the self-blame that follows. The amount of happiness in your relationship is directly linked to how well you can tolerate uncertainty, especially if you have insecure attachment style. A mature psyche can tolerate uncertainty, while an immature cannot. And you're going to be idealizing, sexualizing, splitting, projecting, using any sort of defenses, which are not bad in themselves, but these patterns distort what's really happening between you and the other person. And this just makes it even hard to even notice someone who can truly be a good match to you. And if you would like to identify which defense mechanisms you are prone to and how these mechanisms influence your choices and your life, and the real steps that you can take today to move on towards the relationship that you want, schedule a free 30-minute call with me, and I'm going to map out those steps for you. Closeness with another person is only possible when we understand our processes first. And this is the only way to stop attacking yourself for what is happening with another person. And now the third point about particularly about the feeling of being used. A lot of people say, I was used, I betrayed myself again, I agreed to breadcrumbs, and now I will write this long never again list. In my work, these are the exact phrases that I strongly advise my clients to never use again. Because when you are saying it, not only you are portraying the other person as an aggressor and yourself as a helpless victim, which only is going to add to the anxiety, which only is going to add to the distance and fear of relationships. The worst thing is that you are becoming an aggressor for yourself. You're becoming someone that you cannot trust. And often this is a much bigger source of anxiety than actually the relationship itself. The only way not to feel used is to understand what is really happening inside of us. So when we feel used, it seems that we choose between us and the other person. So we choose between our needs and the other person's needs. And somehow we get tricked to choosing the other person. But it is not true. We always choose between our own needs. But when we feel used, this means that we were choosing between a compensatory need and authentic need. Compensatory needs like seeking confirmation or seeking a self-value through another person or avoiding certain fears. And authentic need, like a need for genuine closeness, a need maybe to let you give yourself more time, maybe a need to distance yourself a little bit and find your own balance if you are being overwhelmed with some of your feelings. And feeling used just signals you that you made a choice of the compensatory need. And it's not, and there is no right or wrong. It just means that at that time, you made that decision because this is how much of psychological resources you had to deal with that situation, and based on how much of understanding of yourself you had in that moment. And really, either one is fine, but then the next time, the more you understand in your needs, desires, and what's behind them really, the more you can make the choice. And what I see usually as people heal, people start realizing it first afterwards. Then people are able to realize it right in the moment. And then people start realizing it before anything even happens. So they can make the decision that actually is going to lead them towards feeling satisfied and happy and in harmony with themselves. And as always, please, if you watch till the end, like, subscribe, share, comment, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.